Course 1, Lesson 33 gets us just started on taking a percent and writing it as a fraction. What do you already know about percents? Maybe you already know the percent sign, right? Like the ones you see on the page here, kind of a slash division mark with circles open on either side. Percent, if you know anything about century or cents, right? How many cents are in a dollar? You're thinking about that number 100. Percent literally means how many per hundred. So when I talk about 100%, well, that means all of them because there's only 100 in 100. There's 100 per 100. But 50% tells me 50 per 100 that we're talking about. We have shaded here 50 of 100 total squares to show what 50% looks like, which is really looks like a half of the overall rectangle here. 25% means a quarter, a fourth. Looks like, if I divided this into fourths, 1/4 or quadrant, like I'm looking at a graph, would be right here. That's 25 of them when properly grouped. You can see that. To write a percent as a fraction, just take the number that is the percent, that 50, and put it per 100, over 100 here. Reduce, and we'll get to 1 over 2 is why we practiced our reducing using GCF. If I talk about 79%, how do I find out what that is as a fraction? Percent, 79 per 100. And see if you can reduce, I think. 79, you're kind of stuck there, but make sure you've reduced if you can. Benjamin's class, 60% of the students walked to school. Write it as a fraction. If there were 100 kids in the class, that means there would be 60. There'd be 60 in a class of 100 following this percentage. Let's reduce that down to make it easiest to apply to any amount of kids. Well, you can right away erase your zeros that are here extra, and you have 6 over 10. Greatest common factor of those two is the simple 2, because they're both even and I can't do anything better. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 3/5. 60% is the same as if I divided into fifths and counted up 3 of those, it would look like the same thing as 60%. To remove the percent sign and write 60 over 100. GCF, greatest common factor. Finding the greatest common factor of two numbers is review, but you'll want to make sure you can do that when you reduce. How about reduced fraction that's the same as 4%? Just 4, not 40. So just 4 over 100. Only a ones place. It's going to be a small amount. Divide both by the GCF and end up with 1 over 25. A real small fraction. Let's do A through I and make sure we're feeling confident. Good luck.